Hey there! Every month, Annie has a call with our Path 365 members and answers their questions. She tackles a wide range of topics from what to do with big emotions, what kinds of tips and advice she has for addressing difficult situations, how to deal with cravings, and so much more. Listen in as she does some real life coaching for our Path members.
How can we truly process and forgive ourselves for all the past embarrassment and cringe-worthy things that we've done?
There's a lot of stuff because as you already have observed is that it is a multi-layered thing. There's something like, hey, you're doing the best you can with the tools you have, and that can provide relief in the moment. But when you have a whole history and you have lots of layers of regret, like there's a lot of layers to that. And so what does that really look like? I'm going to give you two tools and I'm going to talk about them in brief, but yes, we do go further into these ideas. So the first is the quality of your present moment is dependent on two things. It's dependent on the story that you're telling yourself about the past, and it's dependent on the hope that you have for the future. So how peaceful your past is and how big your future is. And you can think of this. So in this present moment, you look at your past, and just out of curiosity, if you were to take all the things that you've experienced in your life, how many things do you think you could recall right now? Like what percentage of all the hours that you've lived could you recall? Really little, right? So like let's just consider that when we're telling ourselves a story of the past. We're telling it through a filter of only what we can remember. And what we can remember is obviously going to be the things that emotionally snagged us the most. And so we're overlooking 60% of times where you probably made a brilliant decision, where you probably really had your own back, where you probably really trusted yourself, where you probably really were very kind and very generous. And so when we think about the quality of our present moment is up to what we're telling ourselves, the story we're creating about our past. Our job is to learn how to create a more peaceful story, a more empowering story, a more resourceful story. And our job is to recognize that our story is kind of only a small portion of it, because we can't actually remember our entire past. And even the past we're remembering through a filter of judgment and blame and all of these things that we probably at the time thought there were a lot of benefits to. If I blame myself enough for this DUI, then I'm going to get myself out of this drinking pattern. If I judge myself enough for this, then I'm going to get myself out of this drinking pattern. So can you look back at a moment in your past, and you can find a moment in your past where drinking was an act of self-care, where you truly believed that alcohol was the thing to relieve your pain in that moment, relieve your stress, to care for yourself. And so look at it through that lens. Like, how interesting is that? Like, for so much of us, so much of our drinking was not malintended to destroy our lives. It was an act of love. It was an act of love in the way you knew how to love yourself with the tools that you had at that moment in time. So that's a much better story of your past, right? Which can bring so much more peace to your present. And so if we just consider that frame, that our present moment, the quality of our present moment consists of two things: how peaceful and empowering the story of our past is, and how much hope we have for the future. The other thing I would say is I really like Oprah's definition of forgiveness, which is giving up the hope that the past could have been any different. So it's not with any change. It's not with any, like, it's just giving up the hope that it could have been different. And that's just a little shift, right? Because so much of what we're holding on to, and so much of what we think we're doing with the energy of resentment of ourselves, of self-loathing, of regret, is we're trying to actually change it at some level. But you can feel so forgiving when you just give up the hope that it could have been any different. And I would say that these tools, they'll provide relief. And then there will be another, people are saying in the chat, we're like onions. There will be another layer to the onion. There will be another memory that slaps you upside the face. There will be another need to, like, this is, we really talk about this, especially in like the continuation work. Like, this is like forever work, right? Like, it's a forever journey. And no matter where you do it, like, it just is like, once we start to become really conscious to who we are and the stories we're telling ourselves, it does become a forever journey. It's not, oh, Annie said this one thing and I'm totally forgiving myself forever now. It is like allow for that too. Allow that it will be iterative. Awesome.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you're ready to see how This Naked Mind can help you on your personal health and wellness journey and want to learn more, go to thisnakedmindpodcast.com to learn what your next best step is. Again, that's thisnakedmindpodcast.com. We have all of our free resources, programs, social links, and more available for you there. Plus, if you have your own naked life story to share, you can submit it there as well. Until next week, stay curious.